They want to send a message from New Mexico that if you're going to do these things, if you're making movies, if you're handling guns, you're going to do it right.
Yeah. There's no excuse in New Mexico. You're not going to get away with it under the guise of, well, I really didn't know. It was a mess. My question is, what about the corporation? What about the production company? That was a disaster. You know, civil lawsuits clearly are still pending there. But the DA made a decision that the life of Halyna Hutchins mattered, and that Alec Baldwin is the one who pulled the trigger. It was at his finger that she died when he pulled that trigger, and that Gutierrez Reed is certainly negligent in handling it.
Yeah, 24 years old. She said she was asking for a cart to help her carry around all the weapons.
She shouldn't have been on that set, Harris.
Does that make her less culpable, though, for the charges?
It makes her more culpable. That you took on a job, you stated you had the capacity, you stated you had the experience, he relied on that. They're going to fight it out, let me tell you. Baldwin and Halyna and Gutierrez Reed are going to be fighting it out all through this trial. And the fact that they've got one who's already pled guilty, that person is going to turn the case. Hall.
So wouldn't you try to avoid trial at all costs? Or would you, as Leo suggested, try to get your name cleared as Alec Baldwin so you can work in Hollywood again?
Well, I think, look, if he's charged with involuntary manslaughter, you want to plead guilty to it, be my guest, but it's got to be his charge. They're not fooling around in New Mexico.
Wow. All right, so the team is putting together some pictures for us. Fox News has obtained these photos, so we want to work this in now. Alec Baldwin's wife, Hilaria, coming and going from their New York City apartment. This was just earlier this morning. So far, no spotting of Alec Baldwin, and we have no reaction that we've been able to gather from him or his camp. Judge, what should he do at this point? Because he has given some interviews, and I've heard you say you shouldn't talk.
He should keep his mouth shut. That is one of the biggest problems here. As a prosecutor, I'm looking at all those interviews, all the Twitter, everything he said, as a treasure trove of evidence for me. You dare take the stand, we'll contradict you. But we will also contradict your testimony based on the forensics, based on the FBI. This is a guy who can't stop talking. Well, so number one, keep your mouth shut. Number two, get the best lawyer you can. And number three, pray to God. But your actions resulted in the loss of a life of a mother and a woman in the prime of her life.
We have some breaking news for you this morning. Actor Alec Baldwin will be charged with involuntary manslaughter over that deadly film set shooting you remember from last year. Let's go to US correspondent Jonathan Kersley, who's in Hollywood following developments. Jono, this is a massive development.
Sarah, it is. It is a huge twist in this long-running saga. The Hollywood star Alec Baldwin to be charged with involuntary manslaughter over the death of a cinematographer on the film set Rust in Santa Fe, New Mexico, back in October 2021. The district attorney has been looking into this since then, received a report late last year, and has now decided to charge not only Alec Baldwin, but also the armourer on the set, Hannah Gutierrez Reed. Both will now be charged with involuntary manslaughter, and the district attorney really was quite scathing of allegations she made about health and safety practices on set and the attitude of Alec Baldwin. Mr. Baldwin has maintained he did not pull the trigger on the gun that killed Halyna Hutchins back in October 2021. Asked about that this morning, though, the district attorney said absolutely she is confident that he did.
And then they somehow got loaded into a gun, handed off to Alec Baldwin. He didn't check it. He didn't do any of the things that he was supposed to do to make sure that he was safe or that anyone around him was safe. And then he pointed the gun at Halyna Hutchins and he pulled the trigger. There was such a lack of safety and safety standards on that set.
Now, look, while we are yet to hear from Alec Baldwin personally, we have heard from his attorney this morning, who said in a statement, this decision distorts Halyna Hutchins' tragic death and represents a terrible miscarriage of justice. We will fight these charges and we will win. We have also heard from Halyna Hutchins' family in a statement. They say our independent investigation also supports charges are warranted. It is a comfort to the family that in New Mexico no one is above the law. So Sarah, where to now from here? Well, the charges will be filed before the end of this month. Then there will be an initial hearing that can be done via video link. A jury has been given two options here. One charge carries a maximum penalty of 18 months in prison. The other, a mandatory 5-year jail term. Alec Baldwin has already reached an undisclosed financial settlement with the family of Helena Hutchins over this shooting.
Yeah, interesting indeed.
Alec Baldwin, accused of pulling the trigger when the movie set employee died. Now, more than a year later, the Wall Street Journal has just exclusively reported Alec Baldwin will face criminal charges. We are set to hear at any moment directly from the New Mexico District Attorney. I'm Harris Faulkner. You are in the Faulkner Focus. Hollywood star Alec Baldwin at the center of that death on a set of the film Rust.
Cases in which repeated use of a weapon can make a discharge much easier than, and even by itself, without a trigger pull, which will be a testimony from different firearms experts as